Hello, everyone, and welcome to another awesome episode of Elevating Your Life. And yes, we are going to be elevated again today. I am so excited to share with you my so awesome guest. We have with us today Zach Beach. He is committed to building a world based on love and connection. For over 10 years, he has been traveling the world teaching love in the form of yoga, meditation, writing, poetry, and coaching. He is the host of the weekly Learn to Love podcast, which features therapists, coaches, authors, and educators, and has reached hundreds of thousands of listeners across over 100 countries. He founded the Heart Center Love School. Zach has appeared on dozens of podcasts, and his poems have been featured in numerous publications. He is a best-selling author, an author of Love and Suffering. His writings have appeared on such websites as the Huffington Post, Elephant Journal, and Mind Body Green. Zach's formal education includes an MA in East-West Psychology from the California Institute of Integral Studies and BS from Northwestern University. He is currently a student in the Marriage and Family Therapy program at Cal State University, on the path to becoming a mental health therapist. Oh my gosh, you just do so much. He continued training. His continued training includes certifications through the School Yoga Institute in Guatemala and the Himalayan Yoga Association in India, certifications with the Prison Yoga Project, advanced Thai massage training at the Sunshine Network in Thailand, as well as Buddhist meditation training, compassion cultivation training, and mindful self-compassion training. Oh my gosh, Zach, you have done so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you and welcome.
Wow. Thank you so much for
Amazing.
having me. And thank you for the wonderful intro.
Oh, you're so welcome. Well, I would love you to, before we get going on talking about love and that, tell us a little more of your background, kind of what that was like, all these amazing experiences, and maybe if something really was a wow for you.
Hmm. I think I'll just say that my life reflects the power of intention. That's what I call step zero, the step you do before all of the other steps. I think we live in a very future-directed, goal-directed society. And the thing about goals, it's a single point in the future that you're trying to get to. So I want to lose 30 pounds by the next year. And it's a single point. But what if today you set an intention to love yourself fully, to accept yourself fully just as you are? And the beauty of that is it opens up a myriad of directions that you could take. Maybe loving yourself fully means taking a dance class and feeling your body. Maybe it means a bubble bath. Maybe it means walking through the woods. So when you live with intention and you set an intention, it opens up a world of possibilities and you never know where it's going to take you.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I love that. I think of those little things as happiness triggers. Give myself happiness.
Mm,
Yes. And
yes,
oh, something
we
that
do.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to mirror back that we do live in a beautiful world.
Yes.
And we do have to open ourselves up to all of those happiness triggers, all of the beautiful things that are around us.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And something you say on your website is that you believe love is the reason we are here. Oh, that just touched my heart. Expand on
It's
that.
true.
Yes.
Love is the reason that we are here. Love is the solution to the problems of human existence. It is, in fact, our true nature. If you are looking for happiness, joy, and even God or the divine in your life, purpose and meaning, I encourage you to look no further than love. And before you begin to turn the volume off, because it sounds a little cliche and too mushy gushy for your life, love is not just some ephemeral emotion that's too gooey to bring into our lives. It's something very real that requires action in our life because when we do open our heart to loving others, the first thing that we will encounter is the suffering that is in the world, that is in every human life. That is the first noble truth. This life contains suffering. So, in order to meet this world with a wide open heart, you have to find the courage to face that suffering and take action to alleviate it. So, when I say that love is the reason that we are here, I don't mean we simply have to sit for 10 minutes and cultivate love in our hearts, although that can be a very powerful practice. I mean, it brings meaning to our lives when we bring it to the world, when we seek to be of service to others, to help others, to face the intense suffering that is in the world and seek to alleviate it with our own loving presence.
Oh, and that is just, that is powerful words. Excuse me. Powerful words, Zach. It really is. Oh, pardon me. And, you know, would you say that when we look at things with love, it
Mm,
changes our perspective?
absolutely. This is a common thing I teach that we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. Another way to
Yes.
put it is that what we see in the world is a reflection of who we are. And this is where I think spiritual practice can be really powerful because it does really shift our perspective and it gives us a newer or higher order perspective. But it's everything from thinking about what is a happiness trigger I can find right now. If you want to find problems, you'll find them. But if you want to find happiness triggers, you'll find them too.
Yes, yes. And something you've said, what do the Buddha, Jesus, Nelson Mandela, Saint John of the Cross, and Viktor Frank all have in common?
Mm.
They all found the courage to love this world even amidst intense suffering. Give us
Mhm.
your thoughts on that, Zach.
So, this is the theme in my latest book, which will be out by the time that this airs. And it's called Love and Suffering. And I was even talking to somebody today. I was like, I have a new book out. It's called Love and Suffering. And the person replied, huh, story of my life. And I was like, yes, this is the story of all of our lives. This is the story of the human life. There's lots of division in this world, you know, between Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, Muslims, Jews, Hindus. And I think we can all come to an agreement that every human being on this planet wants love and does not want to suffer. Love is our deepest human need. From birth until death, we need people to seek us out, to validate who we are, to empathize with who we are, to see us as who we are at our deepest level, and accept us at our deepest level. And at the same time, none of us want to suffer. None of us want to be in pain.
Yeah.
So this is really the beginning of a secular ethics. Like, what is good and what is bad? Good is that which alleviates suffering. Good is that which cultivates love. Bad is that which causes suffering. Bad is that which gets in the way of love. So, this is a lesson across time, across cultures, across history. You can look anywhere, any text, any great person in history, and you will find this same lesson. What it means to love this world with an open heart, what it means to face suffering with love,
Oh.
with compassion. So you can look anywhere, and I pick a
Mhm.
number of figures in the book, like the great mystics, Rumi, Hafiz, Kabir, St. John of the Cross, like the great spiritual leaders that initiated their own spiritual lineages or practices or entire religions, like Buddhism, like Christianity, and like great people who, to me, embody this life, such as Viktor Frankl, Dr. Martin Luther King, Mary Oliver. We can learn these lessons from anywhere.
Yes. Mhm. And would you say that this love, you know, we can expand it and we need to expand it to not just others, to animals, to our planet,
Mm,
and
ab-
what that can do for us and our world?
absolutely. You know, I often think that when we're born, we have seeds inside of us, seeds that we can water. There are seeds of hatred and there are seeds of love. Every human being is capable of
Mhm.
love and hatred. So our practice and our life should be one of watering the seeds of love and compassion, and not necessarily tossing out those other seeds, but composting them for further growth.
Yeah,
Because in this lesson of love and suffering, we learn no mud, no lotus. Without suffering, we cannot awaken from this life. So, absolutely, in the cultivation of those seeds of love, we find a glorious plant that bears delicious fruit in so many different areas of our life. And when we do say that mantra, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, may all beings be happy and free. Yes, of course, we include both human and non-human life, both plants and animals, the sacredness of life. So that is actually the final chapter of the book, is extending our love to the world. Because in this time of environmental destruction, in this time of climate change, in this time of inaction, I do go back to this idea that in order for us to save the world, we must love it.
yeah.
And in order for us to love the world, we must feel a sense of kinship with it. Like
Ah,
when people talk about we must protect the environment, there's such a bifurcation in that statement, as if the environment is something out there that we need to save out there, as if we aren't part of it and part in it. So love is that connection. It is that sense of kinship, of allyship with our fellow brothers and sisters, and also all non-human life on this planet.
that is so true. And you're so correct. It's not something out there. We are part of it. We are part of
Hmm.
the world. We are all energy. You're my energy brother. We are connected, and having that love and
Yes.
compassion for all that. Oh my gosh, what we can create, and also what joy we can create in ourselves and others.
Hmm. Hmm. And this is why I do go a little bit into indigenous practices in the book as well, because I do think we can unite that, again, artificial separation between human and nature. And that's why I love the concept of like sister moon, father sky, mother
Oh,
earth, right? These
yeah,
are these are embodied beings that we can appreciate.
yes, yes. With your coaching and your teachings, tell us about that. What you're offering for those out there that want to learn more
Hmm.
about you.
Well, as Ram Dass would say, we're all just walking each other home, right?
Oh,
None of us are gonna can do this alone. We all need support. I even tell some of my clients, guess what? Your coach has a coach. Your therapist has a therapist. Like we're all leaning on each other. We're all dependent upon each other. We live in an interdependent, interconnected reality. Just to have this conversation, we're dependent on every person that was involved in the manufacture of this technology and the development of science that allows us to connect across thousands of miles. So it's wonderful to be here in that way. And we all need help from time to time. And that's where therapy comes in. That's where coaching comes in. And we are also in this modern world. So we have to simultaneously remember our infinite, loving, blissful nature and also where we left our car keys. So what I mean by that is in the United States, to be licensed as a therapist, it's always state by state. So I'm licensed in the state of California to provide therapy, which I do one-on-one in session and then also online. But if you're looking for individual one-on-one help with your relationships, whether with others or with yourself, that's where coaching can come in my online coaching programs.
I love that. I love that. And something you've mentioned, gurus throughout time have repeated the same message.
Hmm.
Temporary pleasures will only result in temporary happiness, but within us all is the capacity for joy. Talk a little bit
Yes.
about that.
Yes, this is another lesson we can find across cultures, across time in the sacred scriptures that essentially pleasure arises from the outside. and joy arises from within. And we live in a world that tells us to seek for pleasure, and that somehow, given enough material gain and material pleasure and material wealth, we'll have some lasting sense of happiness. But it doesn't work that way because nothing in this world lasts, unfortunately. Everything is changing, everything is impermanent. So, therefore, anything that we rely on in this external world for lasting peace, happiness, and contentment, of course, will not last. Your partner will not last. Your meal will not last. Your house, car will not last. So, we must look within. We must find something deeper, something beyond the dualities of happiness and sadness, of pain and pleasure, something beyond the eight worldly winds, as it said in Buddhism: pleasure and pain, gain and loss, fame and disrepute. And it's that inner love, that inner nature that goes beyond the dualities. It's that source of love. In yoga, it's called Satchit Ananda, but you find it across all religions and spiritualities that there's a spark of the divine within us that goes beyond words. There are many words people sometimes use: love, light, source, soul, spirit, Brahman, Atman, Purusha. It goes beyond words. All we can do is point at the moon that we are, the illumination that we are.
Yes.
And as beautiful as this sound, I have to give a little bit of a warning because sometimes we have to be dragged into this realization kicking and screaming. This is where the path of suffering can come, the path of taken away, of things being taken away from us. So I sometimes go back to that Zen poem where the master says, "Oh no, my house is burned down. Fortunately, there's nothing blocking my view of the moon." Sometimes when our
Oh,
life, yes, sometimes when our life is in shambles, when we've hit rock bottom, that's actually where the gold is found and where the divine is found. So sometimes rock bottom can be a trampoline. Sometimes rock bottom, when everything is taken away from us, like Viktor Frankl in the concentration camp, like Nelson Mandela fighting apartheid. Sometimes when it seems the darkest is when we truly discover the light.
wow. Wow. And so would you say that like suffering and challenges, that opens so much to us, such as gratitude for the good and appreciation for the good and maybe even, the realizing that, there's another day ahead that
Mm,
become positive and we can move out of it. What do you say to someone who is kind of in that hole thinking, oh my gosh, it used to be so wonderful and now I'm suffering. Will I get through this?
mm. The first step is compassion for ourselves. So, of course, the immediate human reaction to any kind of pain and suffering is the desire to eradicate it. And we live in an immediate satisfaction world. If you have a headache, take a pill. If you're hungry, eat. If you're thirsty, drink. Like we're very good at minimizing any level of discomfort. So it's those times when there is no erasure of the discomfort that's especially ripe for learning how to be with it, for learning how to sit with it, and for learning to see it as a gateway to compassion. Compassion is when love touches suffering. Compassion is meeting that suffering with a loving, kind heart. So that's the first step. Like rather than this moment sucks, I don't want to be here, I want it to end, recognize, wow, I am suffering in this moment. This is a moment of suffering. Can I pause? Can I breathe into it?
Oh,
And then can I tune in to what I'm needing in this moment?
yeah. Oh, yes. And love is such a powerful tool there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Oh. Tell everyone where they can learn more about you and listen to your podcast. Tell us about your podcast a little bit and what you're sharing with the world.
Yeah, happy to. So I'm pretty easy to find. My name is Zach Beach. You can go to zachbeach.com, Google it, or find me on Instagram and Facebook at Zach Beach Love. Again, my latest book is Love and Suffering. So if any of these subjects interested you, I encourage you to go deeper into all of them by checking out the book. And I'm always learning and always growing. So I don't know how it happened, but I just have a love of study and learning. Always have a number of books on my bookshelf. So I appreciate you reading that long bio of mine, and it really just reflects my endless desire to learn. So I too am learning. I have a podcast called Learn to Love. And every week interview a coach or a therapist or an educator on how we can be more loving individuals. And if, even after all the books I've read, and in this case, 150 podcast episodes, I still learn something new every week. And not only do I get something out of it, but I'm sure if anyone listens to the show, they will get a lot of insight and wisdom into how to bring more love into their life.
And what a beautiful message to share, Zach. Bringing more love into our lives and, meeting so many positive, caring people. I
Mm.
mean, there is a lot of love out there, isn't it? And we can help it grow.
Mm. It's true, and that's been one of the biggest boons of the podcast is just meeting other people similarly on this path. And that's again why it's such a joy to be with you, to connect with you, to see that we're also on very similar paths and spreading messages of happiness and love and encouraging people to look for the things that bring them joy in life.
Oh, was there a particular event or time in your life that really made you aware of this is where my passion is? This is the direction I want to go in sharing love with others. And what kind of drew you to that, Zach?
Hmm. It's an excellent question. I don't know if there was a singular event or moment in my life that propelled me on this path. Um, but again, one of the themes in the book is that suffering is a great teacher. And the Buddha did encounter his own suffering or the sort of suffering that exists in all human beings when he came upon sickness, old age, and death. And if sickness, old age, and death are the kind of archetypal sufferings that we all experience, then guess what? Sickness, old age, and death are also great teachers. So unfortunately, we live in a very death phobic society. We like to shove it away into hospitals and out of sight, out of mind, which is not something that happens in other cultures where there are public burial grounds and it's much more visible. And you maybe sit with the dead person for 3 days before you finally send them off. So there have been, yeah, key events around even what it means to live in the light of death, as I write about, to see that although death is something that we shy away from and are fearful of the most, is without it, we wouldn't appreciate life. Is that knowing that we only have one life to live and that death can happen to us at any moment
Yes,
makes us cherish today.
yes.
And a
Oh,
question I sometimes ask in workshops is if you were to die tomorrow, who would you call and what would you say?
yes.
And it's one of the most profound questions I think anyone can ask. Like, it
Great.
always goes back to like, who are you going to express love to that you haven't yet?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, we have a few minutes left in the show, but I want to ask Zach, what are your thoughts on what is the secret to a meaningful life? How would you describe that?
Um, well, I'll tangentially answer the question simply because as I've embarked upon this new journey of therapy, I am reminded of the joke that how many therapists does it take to change a light bulb? Just one, but the light bulb has to want to change.
My gosh, I love
And And that's what I've also learned on this path is that meaning must come from within. You cannot give somebody meaning, you cannot tell somebody what the meaning is in their life as much as we want to. Um, the best thing a therapist can do is just sit with a person in their own challenge and their own feeling of being lost as they learn to navigate themselves outside of their own darkness.
Oh,
Um, so it again is something that arises from within. But if you are looking for a couple guides to put you on this path, then I encourage you to look no further than how you can love this world, how you can alleviate the suffering of other beings, both human and non-human, and what a path of service looks like with that wide open heart, even amidst intense suffering.
yes, yes. And that is such a powerful statement, Zach, that really all you can do is be there for support and guidance. We are each in control of the path we take, of our thoughts, our words. And would you say that's actually a really wonderful thing? Because no matter what's
Mhm.
going on around us, we are in control. If I choose to be happy, no one can stop me, you know? And
Yes,
that's,
that is our greatest freedom, our
yeah,
ability to choose our own attitude, how we meet this moment.
yes, yes. And the fact that each of us can love and support and, have compassion and help those that are suffering, that is just a beautiful thing along with that.
Mm,
Uh,
thank you.
you're welcome. Any last words before we go? We have about 1 minute left.
Mm. Just a phrase I often go back to from Thich Nhat Hanh, which is the most precious gift we have to offer anyone is our own presence.
Oh,
So I thank you for sharing your presence with me, Paula, and for listeners that made it to the end. Thank you for sharing your ears, for sharing your time, for listening to these words. I hope you know that you are loved. You're lovable, loving, and loved. Nothing you need to do, change, or improve about who you are. You're perfectly imperfect in this human life.
oh, and Zach, I want to give you a heartfelt thank you for all you are doing for others with your book, your podcast, your coaching, everything you do. Thank you for being such a beautiful, loving energy in the world.
Mm,
I am so
thank you.
grateful.
My heart is full. Thank you.
Oh, everyone out there, love, hugs, and blessings. Zach, love, hugs, and blessings, my dear.